Hi guys, and welcome back to A Glasgow Kiss and Tell podcast. I am Sophie Gravia, your host, and today we are joined by James Gardner, Glaswegian comedian, and he is here to dish the dirt on what men feel like and how they act when they're dating.
I feel like I've walked into a bear trap, man. My girlfriend will she'll be listening intently, but no, it's delightful. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm 40 and I was single till I was 36 and a half, pretty much for the entirety of that time. So yes, I have done a fair bit of dating. Yeah, everything. I came from the pre-online dating era. So like when I was 14, 15, you were having to go up and use phone boxes still.
Aye, I can remember that.
Aye.
So basically, how you're obviously in a relationship now.
Yes.
How did you break the cycle?
Break the cycle? I mean, how did I meet my girlfriend?
How did you meet her?
I actually met my girlfriend. I met my girlfriend one morning after she'd stayed over with my flatmate.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
So that was how I first met her. I'd basically had a kind of breakdown almost.
Mm-hmm.
I was working, and it's a commission only sales job. I was working probably 70, 80 hours a week, 6.5 days a week, and I was really miserable, and I was kind of lonely as well. But you don't know these things until you kind of move past them. So probably to people on the outside, I looked like I was living a great life. I was going on holidays, I was out partying, and then basically I kind of had a breakdown or an epiphany, a realisation, and I was about 35. I sold my flat because I was earning quite a lot of money, but I had loads of debt because I was just spending to try and make myself happy. So I sold my flat. Obviously my parents were just like, what is he doing, man? Do you know what I mean? So I'd sold my flat and I moved in with a friend of mine. He's still a pal of mine, wasn't he? Like a best friend, just somebody I played football with. He went, "Why don't you come and stay with me?"
Aye.
Right? Big handsome guy and all that. And we kind of shared this flat in Finniston. And then I woke up one morning and I met this girl that kind of stayed over with him. And I think she was like, this guy's really annoying, because I was like, I was like really trying to peak. I was like, all right, I'm trying to show off and all that. And again, this wasn't a serious thing. So like the next time I met her was like 6 months later.
Right, okay.
And it was the same sort of thing. She'd stayed over.
Aye.
At my friends. I think she's like, oh, listen, I've got a work tonight, any chance I can just stay with you, be easier? No problem. She woke up in the morning, she was like, oh, listen, I'm really still drunk, like any chance I can just chill here for a wee bit? And he was like, no problem. He's like, but listen, I'm away to work, but Gardner's here, he's in the flat, he'll look after you and all that. Do you know what I mean? And that was me, bang, straight in. So what's probably really amazing about that story is, probably if I didn't get that FaceTime with her, if I didn't get to spend a couple hours in her company, she would have just thought that I was an asshole, right? Because most people aren't themselves when they meet anyone, particularly when you're dating. You kind of try and project this false image of who you think people want you to be. I certainly did anyway. You start talking about money, you start talking about your car, you start talking about holidays you've been on. You try and act like you're a shagger, right? And you're not. And actually, I'm probably guilty of all those things. And then actually we got talking, and all of a sudden we had so many things in common. And actually, we were just mates at first. We went on like a couple of hills. Like, I'm going to get into the Do the Munros and all that. Do you know what I mean? And we met up and kind of were just friends and stuff like that.
It's
so
quite
it was
nice, isn't it? So it was away from online dating and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, it was. It was brilliant. But I mean, also I've done a lot of online dating as well. I think it's just, I think we're in a really tough time for people now, because you're living your whole life online. So it must be really hard to actually be yourself. And I think that's the main thing, because you want to be yourself, and you want to meet people that are themselves, because otherwise you end up just this, like you say, this, how do you break the cycle? How do you break? And I don't know, do you know what I mean? So that was me, 3.5 years. You know, we've got a house together, we've got a dog. So
you're doing it right.
But we talk about it, because obviously it's just, you know, it's the online thing for so long in Glasgow. Online dating, like Tinder, people would just tell you lies, and they think, you know, a lot of girls, but you're not on apps, Harry, as if it was a bad thing. And when I'm a comedian, so I do a lot of hosting a lot of MC work where you're kind of asking the audience, how do you guys meet? And they're always like, eh. And honestly, the amount of people that say, I just through friends, and I always go, you mean Tinder? And it is becoming far more common, and it people are just, it is acceptable. Like, we met on Hinge, because that's how you do it now. Do you know what I mean? So I've had my share of that, but no, we met in real life. So
when you did go on online dating and stuff like that, do you feel like you were true to yourself, like in your terms of your profile and stuff like that? So
I was one of my biggest problems in life is I am shockingly honest, far too honest. Like when I met my now girlfriend, while we were friends, I'd tell her about these women I'd slept with and all that. And she was like, and she was just like, is this guy for real, man? Like, and then she was like, does he like me? I don't know if this guy used to tell me all these, what's going on? And so I've always been just dead honest, say what's on my mind, gets me into trouble. So when I first started online dating, probably I was 27, I just moved to London. So bear in mind I'm 40, right? So what's that? 13 years ago, so yeah, 2010. So there wasn't any dating apps. You were still on Blackberries, your BBM, there's your BBM pin. So I think there was, at that point, there was like Match.com and eHarmony. But in London, there was a really cool dating website, and it was actually the sort of property woman, Sarah Beanie, she used to present on the telly. It was her site, and it was called mysinglefriend.com. Right. So you had to get your friend to write your dating profile for you. That was the cool sort of stick. They had to kind of
I feel like I remember this. Yes.
So, but again, there was about 4 people on it in Glasgow, right? Whereas in London, obviously, it was so normalised because people are just like, yeah, of course. Most people in London aren't from London. So it's a natural thing to do to me. So I moved into London, got on a few dating sites. I think I was on Match.com and eHarmony, a bit shite. But mysinglefriend.com was pretty cool, and I got my friend Sarah, who I dated at uni, she wrote my dating profile, so it was like a big gold badge. She's like, we dated at uni, and still one of my best friends 5 years later says it all, and people are like, oh my god, what a great dating profile. But I didn't have any social media at that point. I had deleted Facebook, and I'd moved from Glasgow. I broke up my sort of girlfriend at the time. I've only had sort of one proper girlfriend really before marrying, and I wrote my dating profile and all that, so I only had a couple of photographs. And when I would meet with people, they'd be like, oh, you're actually 6'1". I'd be like, yes, why the fuck would you tell lies about your height? And they're like, oh no, but guys do it all the time. And just being so naive, I was like, because I'm not a liar, I think, well, everyone else will just tell the truth. So I was like, so what do you mean? Did they just say they're like 5'11", but really they're 5'10"? And they're like, no, they will say they are 6'1", and you'll meet them and they'll be 5'7". Yeah. So one of the most enjoyable aspects of going on these dates, because I'm a mad gossip fiend, by the way, like terrible.
Poor Isa.
Oh, honestly, my girlfriend is just fucking so bad for gossip, man. I'm like, spill the tea. So when I would go on these dates, I would just be like, right, so what do guys do normally? And they would just tell me like all these things that guys were doing, sending the recycled messages, just like, do you realise you've sent me this message? Because people would say to me like, oh, your messages were quite funny and all that, and I'd be like, I don't understand what you mean. Like, there was just a reply. I'd be like, what? She's like, no, because guys, let's just do copy and paste.
Copy and paste it.
And so there was a bit, so I was always a bit, it's always funny because I always felt I was dead honest in my profile pictures and all that stuff, because it was just, I don't think people knew what a selfie was when I started doing online dating. Do you know what I mean? You were still, yes, I think you still had to use digital cameras.
That's mental.
Do you know what I mean? But I went on dates, and it sounds really shallow and it's kind of horrible, but you're kind of like, oh, come on, fuck, man, you look nothing like this. And what happens is, I don't know if you've ever found this, but I've got this process, I call it emotional rationalisation, right? Where you ignore factual evidence because obviously your emotions override it. So what happens, I'm chatting to girls and did a one profile picture, right? And people would go, that's a red flag, mate, come on, just one picture. And I'd be like, no, see what it is, right? She's so good looking that she's embarrassed to be on a dating site, and she's like, do you know what I mean? What the fuck, man?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? And also, I've like felt I can't email asking them going to send me some
A
more
day?
photos. No,
Oh,
but
a
I
day?
didn't. I was like, you know, that classic sort of working class guilt, sort of very British, like, oh no, don't complain. No, no. Oh yes, is that what you? Oh, no, you look exactly like your photographs. Then you're
Aye.
doing that. What the fuck is it?
Aye.
So it was.
Have you ever been catfished then?
Of course, man. I think. Must
Most
have
people.
been most
Aye.
have been, maybe I've catfished somebody else. I mean,
That's
we'd
what I
be
always
sitting
think
here
as
and somebody's
well.
like, maybe Gardner kidding on. Sent me a picture for 2002 when he was in Malia. Definitely, I don't think to like I say back in those days to a huge extent, because again, just people weren't as familiar with angles and pictures and filters, so
filters and all
so
that.
the level of finessing didn't exist. Do you know what I mean? So I think like you'd meet up on dates and you'd be like, come on, if I had pictures for 4 years ago, you know what I mean? And it sounds a really horrible thing to say, but the whole point of the especially now with the apps and all that, you kind of want to say it's based on physical attraction.
Aye,
The
it is at the
hopefully
start.
the emotional connection comes after. But come on, the thing's based on physical attraction. Come on, to fuck.
No, it
Do you know-
definitely is. It definitely. I remember I went on a date with a guy and he seemed dead nice, blah blah blah, and his picture had a full head of hair, and then when I went to meet him, he just had a hair transplant. Like,
Oh, with the blood and all that.
just had a hair
Don't do
transplant.
that. Listen, if there's anyone watching, I'll take one night because I'm getting a wee bit.
No, but I like you have. It's like, and he was like, "Oh, Sophie," and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, no danger, man." So I'm out there trying to have a conversation, looking at the head. The head is skeleton,
Aye.
and I'm thinking, why would you not give me a fucking heads up on this?
I know. I think as well because I have often asked about the height thing, because like Marion's one of Marion's best friends who lives in London, Estelle, she was doing online dating, you know, but for the Tinder and the apps and all that. And she went, you know what? I says that I'm sick of it. I'm deleting them all because I keep getting catfish with guys' height. Because she's like, you know, I think say she's 5'8", she's like, I want to wear heels.
That's it.
Like, I mean, and she, like really nice guys, but it doesn't matter how nice they are. She's like, it's the fucking we're kicking off with deceit here, man. Do you know what I mean? Because you kind of, what do you think's going to happen, mate?
I am going to notice.
Because it's going to put a barrier up, and they might be able to get. And I think I'm sure you'll get dates where actually, you know what, I wasn't into that person, and then you get married or whatever. That I'm sure that happens too. But that happened to her, and she actually went, do you know what? I'm going to go on this last date. It's already lined up, but after that, that's it. I think she actually deleted her profile and all that, but she'd been swapping messages with a guy. And do you know what? It turned out he was the height that he said he was, and they've got a baby together.
Oh, that's
so it's
nice.
really sweet. But I don't understand. I personally, I just don't understand it because I think I actually really feel sorry for people that they feel so insecure and bad about themselves.
That they need to lie
That they need
about
to
it.
do that, and that's a thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't get it because I think, what are you going to do, mate? Just sit at the fucking table all night? Just like, no, I'll stay seated because you're going to stand
Waitress.
You know, you're just like sitting in an umpire's chair. What's that? Are you all right down there? I don't know, and I think that's the thing. Like men, I think we live in a very misogynistic world. And I don't want to sit here virtue signaling. I think I have contributed to misogyny unconsciously, probably consciously as well, you know, just the way men use language, talking about women and birds. And so I think only over the last 3 years, particularly since I've been married, I kind of have a lot more awareness
of
and
it.
understanding of what women go through. But even just from a more basic point of view, I never considered that, I want to wear heels. So I've never thought of that before, because, you know, guys have been like, but I'll just say I'm 5'10" again. I know, but like, do you know what I mean? 'Cause my girlfriend, I think she's 5 foot. I think she's Mary must be about 5'8". But when we were in Ibiza, she'd never be, we just fucking wear trainers to walk the dog all the time. She wore heels in Ibiza. I turned around, I was like, who's this person who's now sort of like almost head height with me? So I never even considered stuff like that before, you know?
So when you were dating, the worst date experience, have you had any really bad, dodgy dates?
I've had dates where you've done the old kidding on, my house has been robbed. I've had 3 or 4 burglaries, and I look back and again I kind of cringe. I think, oh, fucking hell, was that the right thing to do? I don't know.
So you've been the one that's caused it then?
I've done that. I've turned up and I've been like, what the fuck, you know, just again, totally mismatched descriptions and all that, and then you're just like, and also as well, like, in Glasgow, dating in Glasgow, because Glasgow's a much smaller city.
Yep.
And like, I was a DJ for a lot of years in Glasgow, right, from 17 up to, I was still DJing in Glasgow city centre when I was 26, 27. So there was always kind of a rule in Glasgow, an unwritten rule with the boys. You never wanted to be caught out on a date. Because that would ruin your chances with other women and all that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I had a girlfriend, wasn't cheating on anyone. But you would always try and
don't
go...
want to be linked to somebody.
Well, that was it. So you wouldn't be winching and because the boys would be like, maybe you winching your face off her last night and you'd be like, right? So you'd be doing all that. Right? So like all the boys had different like wee sneaky date venues. I used to always go to Ad Lib at the bottom of town in Glasgow because nobody would go there, do you know what I mean? So they were always kind of sort of that was like the kind of rule. So I remember in London, we'd been on first dates, we don't have anything, you know, and like, I was telling them, you're not going to kiss me now, and I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Follow
once your name in a night, what are you talking about? And then, so this girl was like kind of like all over me, and I was like, I've only been here half an hour, man, and like, it was really uncomfortable, and I'm away to the bathroom, I phone my mate Chick, and I'm like, right, going to have to phone you and tell you my house has been robbed and all that. And then you're putting on a level of performance and then you're getting... And I felt really bad. I was like, oh no. She's like, oh my God, do you want me to come? Is there anything I can do? I'm like, no, it's all right. Do you know what I mean? So I've done that. I think I went out on a date years ago. A girl I met her actually on Twitter. She actually worked on BabeStation.
All right.
A lot of my mates in London produced and ran BabeStation, so they kind of, and some of them used to come and train with us in the morning at the boxing. But I remember being sort of back and forth in this sort of Twitter exchange, you know. But that was back in the days where you had to ask somebody, they had to follow you back in order to send them a DM. So I'm like, maybe a bit of chat with this
babe.
I'm like, maybe follow me back. She followed me back, brilliant. And so we organised this date. And I always remember it was in London, and I'm not trendy at all, right? But it was a kind of trendy thing at that time, I think, to not wear socks, I'd wear the chinos and that. So I'm like, having never not worn socks before with shoes, I'm away down with my trendy outfit to meet this girl through the day. And I just remember, like, halfway through the day, it's like, my ankles are bleeding, we need to go back. So we had to go to a hill. I was like, not sure, Cotswold or whatever. I had to go and buy a pair of like socks on at the middle of this date. And what was really funny as well is, so she used to do the daytime channels. So there used to be BabeStation at night, and I'm sure there was like all these daft, you know, like daytimes when they would just be wearing t-shirts and that, watching her through the day and all that, and then kid up meeting her, you know, for lunch. And I was like, oh, were you working this morning? Oh, were you working? Oh, how was it? I was watching it.
I was subscribing.
Do you know what I mean? Remember telling one of the boys, she's brilliant as well, Garden. I'm like, are you watching them?
That's hilarious. So, what about X? Is there anything that you... obviously, there's going to be a lot of girls out here that are watching this, right? It is mainly women. So, is there anything that we shouldn't do that you think?
No, I'm not into that, man. I'm not into that. I think you should be yourself. Like, honestly, I genuinely, for what I see, is don't fucking change yourself, because guys are assholes.
Aye, 100%.
Guys are, honestly, like what I kind of see, and I look back and I cringe and I think it maybe because like I say, there'll be somebody that think, well, I've been on a date with him and it wasn't like that. You know, I just think, don't change yourself. I think, for me, I've never had a nick in my life. I don't fucking know what that is. Do you know what I mean?
Do you not get that, like, a lassie does something and you go, oh, fuck, no.
No, because I don't know what it is, if it's my background. My older brother, Alexander's got cerebral palsy. And he's quadriplegic cerebral palsy, non-verbal. So I don't know if that background makes you realise the insignificance of a lot of these things. I think guys' patter is horrendous. They're like, oh, fucking red flag and all that. And I'm like, what about you mad creep?
Aye.
With fucking 3 phones and all that. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
So, no, I've never had...
That's so interesting.
I've never had an ick, ever. Because guys are just interested in sleeping with girls anyway, so guys giving it, pure gave me the ick. Like, shut up, mate. If you asked you to go up the road, you'd go up the road. So I just think, what I do remember dating this girl, she was a lot younger than me, which was when I was like 34 or something, and she'd been in her 20s. I remember can't remember if she stayed over at mine. I'm putting my shoes on, I was going to work with her, I'd used a shoehorn. And she was like, oh my God, it gives me the ick. I was like, what, to get your shoe in, your foot in a shoe?
A shoehorn.
Do you know what I mean? And so that's how that's the world you're in now. People go, that it gave me the ick. You used a shoehorn. And I can just imagine as well, so I'm like, I heard him on the phone to his mum, told his mum he loved her. I totally loved her, it gave me the ick. Because that's what I mean. I don't know. What's the biggest ick here?
For me, see, to be honest with you, I don't know. Like, probably the now it would be white skinny jeans on a guy. I just think
white skinny jeans. Are you fucking dating in the 1980s?
No,
who's wearing white skinny jeans?
Sometimes you see them. Sometimes you see them and you just think, oh, pure made in Chelsea, like that sort of.
Yeah.
It looks in
I
proportionate.
think skinny jeans are sort of
It's just like fucking the feet and all that.
We went to take the dog out yesterday, and I had a pair of black jeans, and I put them on, and they must be from about 4 years ago, because they're not skinny, because I'm a 40-year-old man, do you know what I mean? But they're slim jeans, and man, I went, she went there about fucking 2010, maybe take them on. I was like, oh, sorry about that. So I do get it, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a...
But no, I don't get, like, if somebody done something or anything, like, I'm a nurse as well, so like, any sort of weird body fluid or anything like that, bogies like that, doesn't bother me.
I was going to say, you've seen it all, man. There's always, as a comedian, you always ask, when anyone ever says in the crowd that I'm a nurse, people always go, one question to ask you, what is the weirdest thing you've ever found in anyone's ass? That's what they always...
no comment.
Right, okay. I asked somebody that the other night, and she went, 2 walkie-talkies. I was like, a pair of them.
I'm not an A&E nurse, to be fair, but I have, I'm a renal nurse like that, so I'm more kidneys and stuff like that.
Right, okay.
But our patients are obviously really, really sick, and it's like a high dependency.
You're like, jaundice
like
gives
that.
me the ick.
No. Can it be a bit of jaundice? So no, I don't really get icked with things like that. I think I've got a stronger stomach than most things, but white skinny jeans or thong flip-flops.
That's horrible. I love flip-flops.
No, I don't mind a flip-flop, just a thong flip-flop.
I don't know what that means.
Like, see the ones that go down in the big toe?
Oh, right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, a normal flip-flop's fine.
A normal flip-flop's fine.
It's just weird.
Because it's what world you're living in now, that wearing sliders and socks is cool.
Aye.
Not for me, man. Honestly, but again, that's one of the great things about getting older, is you become more comfortable with yourself.
Aye,
I dread to think what life is like dating in your 20s, and I think the problem is like, I just think the wee guys that I see, 'cause I'm on TikTok all the time, I think the wee guys are just all wee fannies, and I think that sadly, particularly young girls and women are really trying to pander to these fucking horrible toxic wee guys. And listen, I know there'll be guys that are going, oh, there's fucking lashes like that as well, and you think, yeah, I know, but I just think it's horrendous. And you actually see wee guys trying to be arseholes because they've been told that's how you get girls and stuff like that. And actually, the old nice guys finish last. And if I was ever to have a podcast, I'd be going, nice guys finish, just be a nice guy, try and be a good person. And nobody's perfect. I've certainly not been, but I think if you just try and be a good person, I think that's surely a good quality. But again, how do you get that across on your Tinder profile or your Instagram page? Because I don't know that pish, like you're fucking here and there, and you're trying to flex through that, and kind of...
There's so many options, but isn't there? I think that's a big thing, is when you're going through and you're chatting to all these different people, if somebody's working or maybe somebody's going out and you're sitting in the house, by that point you can start talking to somebody else. So I think online there's just so many options. I don't do it anymore. Like, I've not been online dating for probably, I finished my ex last year, and I've not been on since because I just can't be arsed with it. It
must be. Well, I remember, so when I moved back to Glasgow, it was about 2014, and I think I was on a Tinder in Glasgow maybe about 2015, 16. And what's interesting, I knew lots of probably girls, again, younger than me, but who were like, oh, you're not on dating. It was almost... I feel that Glasgow's a bit behind London in that regard. It takes about 5 years for a trend to work its way up here, because you just don't have the same weight of people. Like most people that go to London aren't from London, so it's a lot more cosmopolitan. People aren't living with their parents. They're out a lot more. It's a lot more normalised. Whereas I think up here it's kind of like, oh, are you on dating apps? So it was horrible. It was just such a lack of people that were on sort of dating. I remember you'd be like that. I fucking finished Tinder already, man.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Name your swipes left.
And then what they do is they repopulate it with profiles that have just not been active and all that.
Aye.
And again, I think about some of the shite patter I've hit people with on Tinder as well. I think, honestly...
What was your favourite chat up line on Tinder?
Oh, hey, how are you? Do you know what I mean? Just shite fucking chat.com. Do you know what I mean? It just... And again, what's funny about online dating is all you do is you perpetuate the same mistakes that you make in real life. So if you keep going for the wrong guy, because as a guy, I continually went for the wrong girl.
Mm-hmm.
I always went for women that weren't interested in me. Because that's a way to validate your self-esteem. It's like, no, rather than go for these women that are interested in me, I want to go for someone who thinks I'm an arsehole. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we do. And it's the same online. You could be matching with loads of people. The person you want to talk to the most is always the one that's not interested in you.
Aye.
The one that's matched you but
100%.
not messaged back. You're like, oh no, but I think I prefer this one. And you kind of do that. And I remember in London when I was on that mysinglefriend.com, so you used to, same sort of thing, you used to be able to, I think, match or people that liked you, whatever, and then you were able to message them. And I remember always being more interested in the ones that I'd matched with that hadn't replied to me. And I remember, and I'd sent a message and they'd not replied. And I remember one day sitting there going, fucking hell, am I going to go over this? And then I was like, well, you know, James, it's a lot of girls have messaged you that you've not replied to. You know, that's not good karma. So what I then did was I spent a full day replying these women they'd messaged me that I had just blanked because I wasn't interested. And you should have seen the replies I got, honestly, because I was like, everyone, an individual response is like, hi, how you doing? Really sweet that I think you had so many likes you could use each day. And I was like, thanks very much, really flattered. Don't think we're maybe a compatible match, but really wish you all the best in your world of dating. You sound really interesting. Just as nice and as authentic and as sincere as I could be. And probably, I think half the response I got were, listen, thanks very much, appreciate you giving me a response. But then the other half was just like, who the fuck do you think you are?
They would rather just get ghosted and then that's
exactly.
it.
So it's difficult. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the right thing to do is.
Aye, that's it. Oh, that was nice. That was like a nice gesture.
Yeah, it was.
Because you wanted the karma.
Correct. So it wasn't a fucking nice gesture, was it? It was like, I'll be nice if it works for me.
If it works for me.
Do you know what I mean? So like that's the thing about guys, assholes.
Yep. Right, okay, so I'm going to read out our dilemma of the week.
Right, okay.
Our drama of the week. And we'll see how we can solve this. So this is somebody who has basically just messaged me. And
I fucking love these. This could be, if I could do this for a living, by the way, that would be me. I follow all the girl podcasts. See the girls' bathroom podcast with the pink tiles in the background.
Yep.
And also, there's the Glasgow one that's doing really well. The girls, they're quite good. It's just the expressions I love where they're like, my boyfriend I've been seeing for 3 months has messaged me, and they're all facing go, and he said that he has been wanking and thinking about his ex-girlfriend wanking. Is this a red flag? And they're all going, I just fucking love them.
Well, wait for that, because this one is a belter. Because I had quite a few, and then I seen this one, and I was reading it out to the guys before, and I was just like, what the fuck? Okay, so, hi Sophie. I've been seeing a guy for around 2 months now, and I really, really like him. He works as a manager at one of the offices, and I'm in the same building. We hit it off after meeting up randomly in a bar one night and began seeing each other and having lunch most days at the office. He was really respectful and took me out on dates for weeks until the time finally came and we decided to get more physical.
What, was that boxing and all that?
I noticed pretty early on that he would always want to bend me over and do doggy style, which of course is fine, but every single time he would somehow insist I was head down, buried in the pillow and ass in the air. He is always very affectionate during sex and would kiss my lower back and arse as well. However, we went on a weekend break a few weeks ago and I was in my usual doggy position and caught the reflection of us in the fancy glass wardrobe, and I was in total shock when I caught him sniffing my arsehole.
He shit sniffer.
I couldn't believe it at the time. This gets better. It gets
fucking
fucking better. I couldn't believe it at the time and thought maybe I was imagining this because we were both pretty drunk. Fair enough. Like,
I tell you what, you've got some flexibility, man. If I bent down as far down, well,
she's obviously no one. He's obviously making
I'm
her
just
no
trying to figure out though, like how can you get your head away doing there if you're in the act? I mean, was it?
No, I think it's before.
Right.
It's
Okay.
before.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'm just assuming here.
I'm bringing logistics into this now.
I know, yeah. You're getting awfully technical there. So, I set up my dog sitting camera in the bedroom at home, and sure enough, the next time we had sex, he was indeed sniffing my arsehole and wafting it towards him. He was wafting it. I had no idea how to approach the subject. Then I sat him down a few nights later and confronted him on this. He just laughed it off and says, yeah, he gets turned on with butts. It wasn't a big deal. He also disclosed that this happened when he went to a sex club in Amsterdam and one of the workers shit on him. And he really got
So when he went to a sex club, a prostitute, okay, that's nice.
He said it was part of him and ultimately I should get on board if we want this to progress. I have never even farted in front of a guy before, never mind shat on him. I know this probably sounds crazy, but outside of this small issue, our relationship is great. I really don't think I can get on board with this, but at the same time, I don't want to lose him. I feel like I can't tell any of my friends because I know they will think it's hilarious, creepy, or make sure that I dump him. Please help.
Okay. First thing I would say is I really sympathise with what she's saying because actually, again, I think we're in it's a misogynistic society. You know, like if you like just what you're born into, and we're very reserved in Britain. So you shouldn't talk about sex. You shouldn't talk about going to the toilet. Like even like you're saying, like I work with a lot of female comedians, and again, just you listen to them and you're like, oh. Fuck, I didn't realise that, you know, like they're all holding their farts in for the first 9 months of their relationship and stuff like that. And again, my girlfriend, I mean, I'm 40, she's be 33 in July. So she, her brother jokes, she's like, oh yeah, man, he's got a PhD because she fucking loves talking about going to the toilet. Like, and you should normalise like stuff like that. She'd be like, you wait for a poo? And I'm like, Marion, what are you talking about? Putting the shower on still and all that. She's like, it's normal. And you should actually be able to have normal conversations about sex with your partner. You should be able to, because again, dirty chat's dirty chat, you know, if you're, you know, and you might be talking about a certain fantasy and at some point your girlfriend might turn and go, listen, by the way, Jesus, that fantasy you're talking about, you're right, okay, it's just a fantasy. You need to be able to have, I think, open conversations because sex is a normal thing and you should normalise any kinks or anything like that. So I think for me, the main issue there is you actually, like you say, don't be sneaky about it. I think if that's a thing, you need to, don't hide it. And equally, again, you could also say, all right, she's, you know, used this, she's filmed them and they've told them, you know what I mean?
I know, I was exactly.
But again, but I understand the kind of what's behind it as well. So it's not I suppose it's not a competition to see who's the most offended. I think in that scenario, you need to have a conversation. And again, this is where I think men need a lot more education because when you're saying to somebody, you should just get on board with it if you want it to relationship, it's kind of a wee bit emotional terrorism.
It definitely is.
And again, when you're younger, you think, oh no, that's all right. And this is what I mean. Like, I think men, we're really guilty of a lot of stuff like that. Just don't be a psycho. We really stigmatise women. You know, we don't call men psycho. You know what I mean? So I think there, like, you just need to have a conversation about it and actually
either dump him or
if she
dump
says
on
she's got
him.
a brilliant that's a great patter. Great patter. Should be a writer by the way. That is unbelievable. So again, I think it's but also the older you get, the more you know, you start learning about the psychological state and the conscious and the subconscious and all that stuff. So you think if he's wanting somebody to do that to him, why? Because
100%.
there are kinks, right? And everything we do is like, but there are kinks, but what's making you, and what do you get from it? Is it being defiled? Is it being abused? Do you like being put in that position? But you've also got to be comfortable with it. But for me, the biggest red flag is that he's went to a sex club in Amsterdam. That's the biggest.
I mean, I've went to Amsterdam and I have went to a sex club, but just for a laugh. Like,
Aye,
I've
aye.
not performed. We walked in. It was more sort of research for one of my books, but
Aye.
it was eye-opening.
And again, that's
I
not...
certainly didn't see him getting shot on.
No, and that's not to stigmatise again, because you talk about a sex worker, that's a person as well.
Yep.
So I understand all that, but I just think, what age is the girl?
I don't know what Disney say.
Aye,
I
so
don't know.
again, I honestly don't know. So I think it's a shame as well you can't have that conversation as well with your pals, because you know, you're just going to fucking
Aye.
shitty boom boom time. I mean, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a bit.
I think.
I told you, guys are weird.
Aye.
Guys are really fucked up, I think.
No, I feel like she needs to run.
And
But
not maybe, or be full of the runs. I don't know. You know.
that's it. There we go. Right, so tell us what's happening with you next, because you've got a show coming up at the Fringe.
Yes, so my show is called Born in a Wheelchair,
Okay.
which is a deliberately provocative and ironic title, because obviously that's referring to a sort of very lazy sort of language that is used. My older brother Alexander is severely disabled. He's got quadriplegic cerebral palsy, so he communicates with his eyes, looks up for yes, looks down for no, so he can understand most things. And I think the title was just something like I always remember saying as a child, like, because people would ask, like, what was your brother, was he born? I was like, my brother was born in a wheelchair. I don't know who taught me that, but I remember saying that to like teachers when I was about 8. I just thought it was a good thought-provoking title. So it's about my life with Alexander. Love him dearly. He's going to be 46 this August, or 47, 1976. So 47 it's going to be. And yeah, it's just about kind of our life with Alexander. So it's really about how his disability has affected me and my family. But it's comedy's about the absurdity. So it's like, what I kind of joke about is actually, you know, I'm very thoughtful and I do all these things for my brother, and I've grown up helping look after him, being his carer. And as a result, it's made me really intolerant of other disabilities, because I'm like, you're not disabled, mate, because you're not in a wheelchair.
Aye.
So it's kind of poking fun at my own ignorance. And it's, you know, I've done a few work in preview shows, or sort of work in progress shows, and the feedback's been really good, where people have said it's like really sweet and it's really funny, because it's kind of just about, the absurdity of our life, you know, like I grew up in Summerston, my pals would come to the door and my mum would be like, make sure you take your brother if you're going to play football. And then like my mum, I wasn't even old enough to get my brother's wheelchair down the steps. My mum would have to bump him down in the wheelchair, and then I'd take him and I'd push him about Summerston at aged 8 and stuff like that. So there's loads of kind of good stuff. So I'm going to be on every day at the Fringe, 1:30 every day. So it's 3rd to the 27th. So the only day I'm taking off is the 14th. Monday the 14th, so every day apart from that I'm on. So it's
full on, man.
It's a full run. So I don't know if it's maybe similar to you when you were writing. It's just like, I didn't know what the Fringe is, and I bet you a lot of people listening about, what the fuck's he talking about, the Fringe? Because like I say, I'm 40. I didn't go through to Edinburgh for the Edinburgh Fringe or the festival till I was 36, and even then, or 35, I went to get pished.
I've never been to the actual like, I know what the Fringe is, and I've seen all the shows and stuff, but I've never actually been to the Fringe. I'll need to go. I'll need to come and see you.
So just the Edinburgh Fringe is it's the biggest arts festival in the world, and that's what I remember years ago. Somebody told me a stat, like, you know, over 1 million people, over 2 million people will visit Edinburgh just to go to the Edinburgh Fringe, and less than 1% of them will come from Glasgow. People are like, Edinburgh shite. So I didn't know. So like for comedy, it's kind of, if you're into wrestling, you go to WrestleMania.
Yep.
It's basically the WrestleMania of comedy.
Right,
like people from all over the world come to perform at the Fringe, and I'm like, that's on my doorstep. So
definitely.
I'm doing a full run, which means I'm going to be sat on fucking ScotRail trains every day, back and forward. And people are like, oh, but you can just chill out on the train. You're like,
if it's running.
And you're like, and also you're like, the train's tiring, man. You know what I mean? It's not like sitting on a couch. You're sitting on a fucking seat. You know what I mean? So I'm doing that. That's probably the biggest thing that's happening just now. And just trying to push on from that. I'll have the Glasgow Comedy Festival coming up again. That's coming up again sort of next March. I do a lot on obviously TikTok and Facebook, and Facebook Reels, fucking mad. All of a sudden, Facebook Reels.
So it's massive, isn't it?
So it's just trying to kind of I was just trying to figure out what it means, if that makes sense. I do the TikTok, I do the reels and all that, and it's just to try and get people to come and see you do stand-up. So that's probably the biggest thing that's going on.
So I'll definitely come and see you.
Please do,
yes,
please do.
Definitely, and thank you so much for coming on. You've
Not
been
at
a
all.
great guest.
Thanks for having me. And listen, if you want to just do a dilemma hour, I will come on and just absolute gossip me to you. But no, listen, thanks very much.
Yes.
And I meant to say that I'm a big fan of what you achieved. I haven't read your books, but I actually have followed your progress in your career because I read the papers every day. I read the Daily Record, the Scottish Sun, the Guardian, and the BBC Sport gossip column every day. That's what I read. So it was. I was kind of really, inspired by your approach of writing. An hour a night in between your work and stuff like that. So I think it's brilliant, and it's really good actually for like homegrown talent. I don't think we actually have enough. I don't think we have enough of that and encouragement, particularly for Glaswegian, especially working class Glaswegians as well. You just want to have as much, creativity out there. So I think it's great now. There's a lot more things happening. I think it's brilliant. And somebody else goes, "Oh fuck, maybe I could do that." And I think that's amazing. So thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Right, guys. Next week is Megan Megara Fury, a dominatrix, and I am so excited to explore kinks, and it just fitted perfectly there with the end of our chat. So yeah, thanks for listening.